sure this will be a very rewarding experience. Just first off, some introductions, or well, first off, explanation. So today's session is going to be a Dolphin pool, plus the closing ceremony for our Global Week of Action event that has lasted for a little over a week now. You're going to be able to see a bunch of different presentations telling about projects that have been prepared by Sandbox participants over the past week. They're going to be presented today, and we have three very special guests, Ms. Anupam, Mr. Paul, and Ms. Marlo Baines, who will be offering their comments and critiques as experts in the social innovation and activism sector. So first off, here are some introductions. I'm Matthew O. I'm the default Sandbox guy for this month's event. And we have a bunch of other team members as well. Kizran, Rita, Fatu, do you guys want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Kizran. I am 16 years old. I'm a junior in high school from Pakistan, and I am the co-lead. Sorry. And I am the co-lead for the Global Week of Action alongside Erica Debay. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. She might join in later on, but we hope that so far with the whole Global Week of Action, we had a really amazing time, whether that be the workshops, the open forums, or the continuous sandbox sessions. But we hope you had fun, and we hope that you gained positive experience. Rita, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Rita. I'm a student from Portugal, and I was an open forum lead for Global Week of Action for SDG 10. I am also the co-DSG of Europe here at MUN Impact Global, and I'm joining today as an admin for the Dolphin pool session.
Hello, my name is Fatu. Some of you have seen me throughout the week for this session. So today I'm going to be your admin, and yeah, I just come from Senegal, and I'm a 14-year-old girl.
Awesome. Aiko, do you want to go ahead?
Hi, my name is Aiko. I took part in some sessions, as you probably saw me in Sandbox yesterday. I'm the DSG for admins at the Munich conference, and I'm the co-DSG of translations for the 100K deeds.
Awesome. So yeah, that's our leadership team. We're all very glad to have been planning this event for you and to be sharing it with you today. First off, just some quick announcements. If you are here representing one of our Sandbox teams, by which I mean if you have something to present today, if you're from the India, Egypt, or Cameroon groups, please label your group name next to your name. Just rename yourself and add your group name next to it, just so I know who you are. And as well as, this is a safe space. It's a place to feel comfortable. So if you do not want to turn on your camera, that's totally fine. But if possible, we would like to encourage all of you to turn on your cameras and interact a little more actively with the event. Okay, but without further ado, I think we are quite ready to move on to the main event of today's event. So just allow me a second. I will be pulling up some the relevant presentations, and we'll get started. Before we begin, how's everyone doing? Which corner of the world are you from? Mun Impact is a global community, so I'd love to hear more about which parts of the world everyone here is from. UAE, Pakistan, USA, awesome. Portugal, Singapore, India. Yeah, so like you can see, we're truly a global organization with a global reach. And this is just always amazing to see where everyone's from. Okay. All right, here we go. Is everyone able to see my screen? Okay, awesome. All right, so. Sorry, give me a second, just reconfiguring my. Okay, so like I said before, welcome to our Global Week of Action Dolphin Pool for the month of December 2021. And today's theme, as was the theme for this month's event, is SDG 10, Reducing Inequalities. So here's a brief history of the Dolphin Pool, in case you don't really know what it is. Like I said before, the Dolphin Pool was basically an opportunity for students with SDG project ideas to share their idea and obtain feedback from professionals in whatever relevant sphere or industry they're interested in. The inspiration for the name Dolphin Pool comes from the American TV series Shark Tank, if you're familiar with it. So you can see there's a very general theme of entrepreneurship, innovation, coming up with fresh and interesting ideas. And that has always been the hallmark of a Mud Impact Dolphin Pool. So our first Dolphin Pool was held in July 2020 for the Global Summit 2.0. And it welcomed students from all over the world, just as it does today, to work on world-changing ideas for the SDGs. Since 2020, over 30 students have been showcased at various Dolphin Pool pitch events, and thus far our impact areas have been SDGs 4, 8, 5, 13, and 15. And today we're very excited to be able to add SDG 10 to the mix. And it's events like these that truly put the impact in Mud Impact, because it's one of the few parts of our organizations where we're able to really encourage direct action and prompt students to use their skills, their organizing skills, their team working skills, maybe even sometimes some of their academic knowledge to be able to come up with these next generation solutions. Okay, so when we first approach our students within our community to start working on ideas for the SDGs, a huge, very important part of our design thinking process, how we get people to come up with ideas, includes drawing on inspiration. So we have 3 very interesting inspirational case studies that we shared with Dolphin Pool participants, and hopefully, and in some ways, that did allow them to come up with some of the ideas that they're going to present today. So just very quickly, some of these inspirational case studies include Mother of Meals Nepal. They're a food service startup based in Kathmandu, and their focus is on empowering unpaid care workers, so homemakers and mothers, by giving them a platform to monetize their cooking skills. And in this way, they were able to educate women about their economic rights and train them in business development. And so this is a great example of a social enterprise that's very focused on direct action, that is, high impact value, that has really made some headway in breaching or bridging the gap in gender inequality. Second place we encourage the students to draw inspiration from is Skillhouse Norway. Once again, we're not affiliated with any of these mentioned case studies. They're just interesting case studies that we found online and chose to share. They're a diversity hiring solutions firm based in Norway that basically recruits and expands its own network of professionals, mainly from immigrant or underrepresented backgrounds, and they integrate them into the Norwegian economy. They help them locate jobs, and that's essentially what they do. What they do is really enriching talent through, conducting their own talent searches in the immigrant and underrepresented worker communities. And so, for example, a Syrian doctor who may have had to leave her place in Syria due to the war would be able to sign on with this service and through them be able to find employment in Norway. So this is just one example of how there are firms like these that have this social entrepreneurship angle and are really able to change lives for the better because of it. Okay, and lastly, another inspiration we encouraged our students to look at was Arabica Philippines. This is one initiative that was started by a Mud Impact member. And it's all about sourcing sourcing Arabica coffee grounds at fair trade from indigenous farmers in the Philippines, bottling it, selling it, but also branding the products with art made by children from marginalized communities. So like this is the epitome of high impact. You have, on the production end of the spectrum, you have deep involvement with a deep commitment to fair trade, as well as a deep involvement with local and indigenous farmers. And then on the marketing and promotion ends of it, you also have these affiliations with children from marginalized communities who are able to express their creativity and make a valuable contribution at their age. So this is another example of an excellent idea for a social enterprise that we hope some of our students would have been able to draw inspiration from. Okay, with that out of the way, we want to introduce our esteemed panelists who will be sharing their views this event. So we have these three wonderful panelists who are going to be critiquing, offering advice and encouragement to our Dolphin Pool presenters and on each of their ideas. So here are our esteemed panelists. We have Ms. Anupam Pandey. She is the community manager at Vruksh Ecosystem Foundation, which is a startup and entrepreneurship think tank in India. She's also the global co-lead for Vruksh's Misfits Global Community, which, like ours, is a community of social entrepreneurs and innovators who are working for the SDGs. And lastly, she is a passionate entrepreneur who believes in creating opportunity for others. Anupam, would you like to jump on and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Matthew, for the kind introduction. I hope I'm clearly audible.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. So, hi, beautiful people. Hope you all are doing good. So, yes, as Matthew has already, told you a lot about myself and my organization, what I'm working basically. So, we at Vruksh, we all believe in creating opportunities for these startups, and here at Vruksh I am closely working on organizing and managing workshops for grassroots and early stage entrepreneurs. We are basically providing these startups a pre-incubation support, and we have built this community by the name of Misfits, which is super active in the Southeast Asia region. And here we are, we are building a network of startup founders, mentors, community people, investors, incubators, everyone on a common platform. That's what the agenda of Misfits is. And yeah, so it, like the Misfits, the platform, it brings startup founders and each and every stakeholders on a common platform. And here I'm leading the Misfits pitch event cohort as well, where I'm working with 70 plus stakeholders from five different countries. So yeah, this is about me and the work that I do. Uh, Looking forward to the event and the startups. Yeah, the ideas basically. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Anupam. Next up, we'd like to introduce Paul Johnson. He is a MUN Impact member of the board of directors. He is also an expert in digital product and service innovation. And lastly, he helped design and launch the Love Film platform that was acquired by Amazon and eventually turned into Prime Video. So we have Paul with us here today. Hey, Paul, would you like to jump on and give yourself a quick introduction?
Hi everyone, good to be here. I love the work that MUN Impact do and the community around them. Yes, I've worked in digital for too many years to count now. Done a lot of interesting stuff. Video streaming platforms is just one of them. I think over the last 5 to 10 years, what's really interested me is how you tie together digital and all of this internet stuff into positive changes for good, as well as developing business models that contribute back. So tying in business models to social causes is something that I'm been incredibly passionate about over the last probably 5 years. I'm looking forward to hearing all these great ideas.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Paul. Lastly, we'd like to introduce Marlo Baines. She is a Youthtopia Circle of Youth member. Utopia is one of our biggest partners that is highly involved in community organizing for the SDGs. She's also the youth director of Earth Guardians, an NGO committed to sustainability and preserving the environment. She has also self-published her poetry book titled The Little Black Book. And lastly, she is a passionate activist, speaker, and leader. Hey, Marlo, do you want to jump on and give yourself an introduction?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So great to be here. My name is Marla Baines. I'm 19 years old, and I've been involved in the climate justice movement for about 5 years now. As you said, I work for Earth Guardians. I just recently moved out of my youth director position, and now I'm building a youth mentorship and ambassadorship program for the organization, which is just looking to support our next generation of youth leaders. And yeah, continuing to work towards building a more equitable and regenerative world. I think I like to really look at how to use what you're passionate about and the localized issues within your community, and really combining the two to create an impact and change. And it's been a wonderful, wild journey to be here. And so I'm just really looking forward to seeing how I can support you and see what you all have come up with, and see what I can give any interesting ideas or support needed. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Marlo. Okay, without further ado, we are going to move on. Oh, sorry. So without further ado, we're going to move on to our pitches. Finally, we have arrived at the main event for today's event. And so very quickly, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to switch over to some of the different slideshows prepared by our Dolphin pool presenters. So first up, we are going to begin with the India team. Do I have members from the India team here today? Just please raise your hand if you're in the room. Just trying to make sure we have everyone here that we need. Super sorry. Just hold on a second. One of our admins, can we cross-check the list and make sure we have someone from India here?
I believe we have Ananya.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'll check the list. So sorry. Just give us a second. Okay, yeah, we have a couple people. Hey, Sophia. Hey, Yanuli. Are you guys ready to begin presenting? Sophia, Yanuli, are you guys able to hear me? Lukhana, were you able to make it as well? Okay, apologies for the tech difficulties. We'll move on to the Egypt team. Egypt team, are you guys ready? I know there's a ton of you here.
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, awesome. Let's do this. Okay, let me pull up your slides.
Oh, do you want me to share the slides so I could control it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please go ahead.
Let me see. Does it show my full screen as the Egypt slide?
Yep, it does.
All right. Okay. Good morning, evening delegates. I'm Rian Nabo, and on behalf of the Egypt team, I'll be presenting our action plan on expanding equal opportunities to disadvantaged youth. In order, I will first explain our target and mission statement. then who we plan to benefit, our solutions, project timeline, and finally, our long-term management plan. The target our team has chosen is SDG 10.2, promote universal social, economic, and political inclusion, and 10.3, ensure equal opportunities and end discrimination. This target is critical to us as students, and especially students from marginalized groups, must get more exposure to extracurricular activities and opportunities to allow them to reach their potential fully, which plays an important role in their development and success. Our mission statement is to expand horizons for these individuals of all countries, gender, race, without any discrimination. Target demographics. Our main targets would be middle school and high school students because we believe that these years, especially the high school years, are very important in a student's life. If in these years, students are able to explore all opportunities, then it would be very beneficial for them in the future as they would know what they are passionate about and also what field to choose, whether or not that be an academic or STEM-based field. Giving opportunities to the students of marginalized groups would help inculcate social inclusion and also end discrimination against them. Now I'll discuss the problems and proposed solutions. One problem is that not all students are getting opportunities in extracurricular activities nor receiving guidance in joining extracurriculars. This is due to a lack of funding, lack of information, and the cultural value of prioritizing coursework and standardized testing over general life skills and the pursuit of a passion. As a result, dropout rates have increased globally due to burnout and less interest in school activities. Our team plans to combat these issues by one, providing that missing information through career counseling sessions and special counseling sessions for students that face discrimination or bullying of any sort. Two, we would form partnerships with other like-minded organizations and host webinars. Three, we would expand opportunities virtually so that they'll reach students with internet access across the globe through a virtual database. To elaborate, in the first step, career guidance and counseling, our main aim would be to make the student aware and understand the importance of choosing the perfect career based on their interests so that in the future, they won't regret their decisions. Also with this, we would also give special counseling to the students who face discrimination in their school and want to achieve something. Next, we would host webinars for students to make them understand the importance of extracurriculars and teach them how to balance them with their studies. We'd also give them tips and tricks which we wish we knew earlier, and along with a few important details. Finally, we would suggest as well to host activities in which students worldwide can participate in online and give special encouragement for students who are socially discriminated and excluded. This way, the students have a supportive community. For example, we'd like to create a database that provides links to general information of clubs, internships, discussion boards, and skill building programs within a student's area, so they can pursue their own outside learning and enrichment or subjects that are simply not available at their school. As for success and failure standards, until this problem is solved, we will continue to accomplish our goal. Our project will be a success if 100 students in the first month, ages 13 to 17, are connected to opportunities through our online platform. This is our project timeline. Starting in January 1st, our team will build pages on social media platforms, for example, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., to spread awareness. Then we will begin hosting our career counseling sessions by partnering with specialists and giving special counseling sessions. Next, we will host webinars by partnering with NGOs, schools, higher education institutions. And step 4 involves suggesting and providing opportunities and activities through the creation of the database. Finally, once launched, we will begin on our project evolution. The topics for these webinars will include important social issues such as equality, marginalized groups, childhood and inequality, gender-based treatment, discrimination, and the situations of migrants and refugees. As our problem evolves, we would increase advertising by using social media as a constant medium and recruiting student ambassadors. Student ambassadors may perform tasks such as spreading awareness or starting their own school clubs that host fundraisers, which can help finance larger scale paid advertising and SEO practices. Furthermore, in terms of partnerships, we'd like to work with both NGOs and nonprofit organizations in each country, such as the UN, UNDEP, UNICEF, and the private education sector. As for online webinars, we would invite schools to participate in webinars as an extracurricular and have experienced students as speakers. These are examples of the nonprofits which we aim to partner with whom we share a common goal. Finally, this is our operating plan to turn this idea into a reality. First, our team will congregate to draft a strategy outline, and then we shall align initiatives to objectives. Third, following that, we will develop performance measures such as targets and deadlines and begin working on.
Just go ahead if you feel like it.
Sure. So who was presenting? I guess Rian, if I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah. Okay. So you're starting in 2022, right? 2022. Okay. So you haven't done any trial or any pilot regard of this project or this idea.
No, this is just a proposal.
I would suggest, to mention some statistics, some numbers. Like you said, students are lacking opportunity. So how many? I mean, I would suggest just mention some numbers. If you're focusing in one particular region or in one particular city, area, country, or is it globally, whatever it is, just mention some statistics maybe. Right? Do mention some numbers. And also you suggested that you'll do webinars, you'll host events, right? So there are so many organizations who are already hosting such events. So what will be new in your case? Why would students want to attend your webinar?
No, we think students would like to attend our webinar because this issue is really targeted towards students, especially students of disadvantaged communities. Because as for here in the US, extracurriculars are emphasized, but as I have teammates who are in other countries, they say that the social norms, that's just not the case, and they don't have those opportunities. But students, there's a high demand for that, as it would make them better candidates for colleges and just explore their actual interests, because school usually offers a set of graduation requirement classes that you have to take in lieu of classes you might that aren't part of the graduation requirements, just like if you want to go a psychology field, if you want to go into art design, you'd have to complete those first before you could explore your interests. So extracurriculars would provide an outlet for them to do that while still doing their coursework.
And what region are you focusing specifically? Like, is it Egypt centric or any geographical constraint?
Yeah, we were gonna focus on Egypt because we represent Egypt, but eventually we were gonna take it globally if we met the success measures.
Okay. All right. Other panelists can continue. I'll hop in if something happens.
Great job. I think the one piece of feedback or advice I would have for you all is remember to make very small, tangible goals so that you can continue to meet them. 100 youth sounds possibly pretty reachable, but also recognize that you're going to have to build that database as well as those partnerships, and that will also take a considerable amount of time and energy and resources. And so also look at those as goals. Look at how many resources that you want to have, what type, and start doing your research on how easy or possibly a little bit more challenging it is to find those resources. And also remember that 100 youth, possibly start with a smaller number of people and really try to hone in on your target. Is your target the school or is it the individual students? Personally, I think if you can reach out to schools, that could be a really great way to build a very collaborative and supportive partnership, so that you also have the school administration possibly helping you get in touch with the right students in the right place, which also takes and alleviates a huge kind of burden off of you all. Because sometimes students and youth, as we know, sometimes won't be looking for those opportunities. But if there is a trusted mentor or teacher that knows about them, it'll be easier for them to suggest this sort of program. But overall, I think that the idea, what I love about it is that it's so simple and yet also so supportive in the long run. Just remember to find the right resources and make sure that your steps are easy and tangible, so that you are feeling and finding success within your own internal team and then externally as a whole group or organization.
Great comments. I don't think I've got much to add to those. As you were talking, I kept on coming back to, what do you mean by extracurricular? So that's an area that I'd be interested for you guys to focus in on more as part of testing, testing a small group. Something I've learned over the years in content businesses is that you really have to test and learn from finding the right content, right format, the right way to distribute, before you jump to scaling that up. Yeah, and you'll find that different extracurricular types of themes or topics will resonate differently in different markets. So it's something to test and learn from. Community, fantastic. I've got 2 kids similar to you guys' age now, and I almost on a daily basis I think about the future of work for them. I was born, in the era where the CV was everything. Fast forward to now, I think we're on the verge of, the CV is dead. It's really about helping people explore their passions and giving them the right community environment to develop those passions into something that they can then create an income from. So exploring those areas around extracurricular to find out what resonates as part of testing early stage before you go to market and scale up, and also how to attract a community from both sides. So it's great to be able to connect like-minded people with shared passions, but then how do you attract the right kind of mentorships, partners to be able to help nurture that community, or at least stimulate it and give them access to opportunities that they otherwise would not have through normal school programs. But a great presentation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, you mentioned about the counseling session. So let's connect later, after this event maybe, because we at our organization also doing these counseling sessions. So we can maybe help you or suggest you some better ways maybe. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, panelists. So Egypt had a great idea. They met on last Saturday. It was like a group of 10 of them. Then there were more students who joined the day after. And they worked over the week to create this wonderful presentation. I saw their group chat on Discord. It was just like popping off for the whole week, literally just messages back and forth. So I know they've put a lot of work into this presentation, and we're so glad that they were able to share it with us today. Next up, we'd like to welcome our Cameroon team to jump on and present their proposal for sustainable agriculture. Just give me a moment while I set things up. Okay, so just very quickly, some context. So the Cameroon team was started by a a member of an NGO from Africa who came to our sandbox session on Saturday. He came to our sandbox sessions multiple times over the week and had this massive document that he had actually, him and his organization had planned ages before the sandbox itself. And he decided he would use that material and share that within today's Dolphin Pool session. So unfortunately, he is not able to be with us today, Mr. Phoebe. But what we have remaining is the presentation that contains some of his ideas and that we're hoping to share with you today, along with some of the team members from the team who were able to join him last week. So allow me to just pull that up right here. So we will be assisting the Cameroon team in presenting their project proposal, but we also have the team member Antoinette Luede, who is here with us, and she will also jump on where she can. So here we go. So all right, today, so Cameroon's project is about reforming rural agriculture in their area. As you can see, those were the team members who had worked over the week to create this presentation. I would like to invite Rita. Do you want to jump on with the first slide? Rita, are you able to jump on with the first slides? Sorry, perhaps she stepped away at the moment. Aiko, let's go instead.
Okay, the Cameroon team chose target 10B, target 10.1, and target 10.3. And they chose this because reducing income inequality increases social mobility. Inclusive opportunities allows everyone to participate in growing the economy, and sustainable agriculture will raise incomes, the quality of living, and preserving the environment.
Awesome. Antoinette, do you want to jump on with this slide?
We chose to focus on the Fako division in Cameroon, where 95% of families are below the poverty line. So we chose Fako because generational poverty is the norm. Household annual incomes are typically no more than 500 euros, and poor economic prospects lead to a high rate of forced marriages and teenage pregnancies in the area.
Fatou?
Same the groups like in Cameroon. So they looked at the target demographics and they saw that the women farmers, which are about like 2,000, are living in 14 remote tribal villages. Traditional administrative authorities and other local decision makers are also involved in this demographics. They also raised the problems among the demographic, which was child poverty rate, destruction of the ecosystem, limited knowledge, exploitation by middlemen, poor infrastructure, and many more.
Definitely. So as a whole, some of the issues they were highlighting was really that when it came to local agriculture, small scale farming, the overall environment had been very much degraded by the economic conditions. And so this is what their team were attempting to resolve. So some of the solutions they came up with, first, basically is a program that people would be invited to join, primarily farmers and women farmers. And some of the criteria include the target villages they were looking at, households below the poverty line, disabled women and widows, women who were sexually, domestically, or physically harmed in any way, who have experienced any form of trauma, or as well as those who are experiencing illness, specifically from HIV/AIDS, and basically anyone within the disaffected sector of society. And some of the proposed solutions, as you can see, there are 5 different main points, but the fundamental focus was on spreading sustainable agriculture as a means of socioeconomic advancement. And the 5-pronged plan to address this included community assessment and baseline surveys, formation of orientations for self-help groups, training on accounts and bookkeeping and basic business skills and financial literacy. SHG, so self-help groups, exposure to other NGOs, connecting people and allowing them to build a network of support, and also establishment on seed farms. So this is where the farming component really comes in.
Yeah, I would like to add something. Considering that like Cameroon, they have like what's it called, like they have a high rate of people with HIV and AIDS. This like solution might probably help them because like looking at the global demographics, Cameroon is one of the highest, like one of the countries that has a high rate of HIV and AIDS, and they are literally dying of it, and they like it actually will help them through it mostly this problem.
Antoinette, do you want to jump on with this?
So some of the success and failure standards are to encourage group formation and organizational management among the target communities, to promote sustainable agriculture among women farmers in the communities and Limbe subdivisions by the end of the project, to raise awareness on accessing adequate nutrition and health assistance if infected with HIV, to promote family solidarity and gender equity on a community level, to encourage female self-determination, and to inspire future active involvement of the target communities in entrepreneurship. At least 1,400 women are practicing sustainable agriculture. This involves planting of agroforestry, tree species, or leguminous, composting, aerobic, mulching, intercropping, zero tillage, soil erosion control, continuous production, and liquid manure. So the women technically know what species to plant in order to help with sustainable agriculture.
Yes, and to add one point, so as was mentioned in an earlier slide, some of the key problems that they've been trying to tackle is the issue of economic exploitation. For example, middlemen and the people who are in charge of arranging transportation for crops, and so generally extort money or have unreasonably high transport fees. So what you see is really, this isn't fair trade, and the entire idea here is to encourage subsistence farming once again, allowing these communities to be independent of companies and major suppliers and distributors who may sometimes seek to exploit them for larger profit margins. So this is really a very transformative project, and even though some of the members who presented, who worked on the project, are not able to be here today, except Antoinette, you can definitely see that there is high impact in mind. Okay, Aiko, do you want to jump on with this?
So they have multiple schedules for each project they've done, and this is for social training. So on like the first weeks of January, they're gonna do community assessment and baseline survey. And from January to April, they're going to do group formation, organization, and management. And this is for year to January to the next February. But it's refresher trainings on group dynamics, leadership, and conflict management. And from May to July, they're gonna do gender equity sensitization, purchase of 600 hand trucks, and other farming equipments, including machines. And from November to the next year, October, gender equity audit.
Just to jump on this slide, as you can see, they actually thought of everything. They thought of like from 2022 to 2023, like all the schedules, and also they started from a small base, like starting from slow to going to higher step as it's like a step at a time on. Starting like, as you can see, they started talking about like the group formation, organization, management, whereby they also started talking about like going step by step and just going little by little to see how stuff will continue.
Absolutely. Fatu, do you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. As you can see, they have literally with the project timeline, they talked about the technical activities and training. So from January 2022 until October 2023, they thought of training on organic farming, that is mulching, incorporating incorporating farmyard manure into the soil, planting the fertility enhancement crops, training on improved cultivation techniques, training on integrated pest management. So basically, they actually like thought of everything. As you can see, they thought of what event is supposed to happen on site during the inside, like with the farmers and everything is farming. And they also thought of sensitization on environmental protection. They also thought about the biodiversity conservation and awareness, creation on the disadvantages of using chemicals and fertilizers. So they also thought about the sustainable development goals that we are trying to achieve. They also thought about removing all these fertilizers and using mostly bio fertilizers. I don't even know if that's said, but
Antoinette, do you want to jump on?
Yeah, so from January 2022 to 2023, this will be a project that will take about a year to execute. There will be establishment of seed farms, training on entrepreneurship and record keeping, capacity building on marketing of farm products, capacity building on processing of procedure, building of capacities on revolving credit scheme, trainings on proper nutrition and diet, sensitization on HIV or AIDS, and other STDs, and the possible effect on project activities.
Okay, could you continue? Antoinette, could you continue?
Oh, yeah. So the planned outcome on multi-level monitoring and evaluating. A, the group level, overseen by a monitoring committee, weekly reports or support group meetings for participants. I think this will be done like communities, prioritizing experience sharing. And then for the project staff, there will be visits from agri-technicians, community development officers, and microcredit officers. Provide an advanced level of technical and legal support to the women. And then external evaluation that will be performed towards the time horizon. An external evaluator assesses impact, identifies issues, and provides recommendations. And individual farmers will be eligible for more budgetary assistance at this point in order to see that the project goes through.
Absolutely. So this was their team's presentation. Once again, just rehashing some of the context I shared before. The original creator of the idea, as well as members of his organization, the actual NGO based in Africa, unfortunately were not able to make it today. But from what I understand, this has been in planning for quite some time now, and they have been able to accrue some of, if not all of the resources to execute their plan. And it just so happened one of the organization's founders was at the sandbox, and this was the project he shared and decided to build a team around, including Antoinette and some of the other members you saw mentioned in the first slide. So at this point, we'd like to encourage some of the panelists, if y'all want to jump on and share.
Yeah, I can go ahead and get us started. First of all, this was a very solid proposal. I kept like making a note, like make sure this could be a blind spot. And then the next slide, I swear, would just address the issue that I had possibly seen come up. So very impressed. First of all, I want to start that coming out of COP26, this sort of project is possibly going to do really, really well because people are really trying to look at how to fund projects that are supporting equity as well as around sustainable agriculture. And so it's just a great combination of the two. I think one thing to continue to consider is to make sure that there are those who they are wanting to support actually on the organizing team. So really just making sure that they're constantly coming to the farmers and asking, how can we support you? And possibly having those sort of ambassadors as well on their team so that there is a constant communication and just making sure that they are providing the most support providing the support that is very much needed. Let's see. I really liked that they were going to be working with training people on conflict resolution and mediation. I can imagine that could be there could be some very interesting situations that they would run into. And so one possible idea that they could think about implementing is having also a group of outside ambassadors who could help support the farmers in making any sort of deals or being a mediator in those sort of conversations to make sure that there is no that there could be someone to step in if there was inequity happening within those sort of deals or situations. And then let's see, one other thing to possibly bring into the conversation as well is we are in a changing, we're in a changing climate. And so really looking as well at the local biodiversity and the climate resilient plants that they have within the region. So what can they be planting and make sure that they are really looking at a wide range of techniques and practices that are also localized to the land, and just making sure that they are also setting themselves up for success, because again, we are in a very unstable climate, and just wanted to recognize that. And then the last thing that I had just in terms of feedback is really asking what is their tangible numerical goals. That was one thing that I didn't see as like the numbers of how many people they wanted to support right away or what their goal was. And at the same time, I really wanted to emphasize supporting a small amount of people first. And in some senses, really looking at their goals as quality over quantity, to make sure that and again, depending on what they find to be most supportive, but starting out with a small goal of people that they want to reach and support is possibly going to have a very strong impact and ripple effect on those local communities. And so they could really look at how many, people can they support within this project, and then seeing how they could build support networks and structures to kind of continuously build out these rings of support for possibly that one person initially, and then that person's community, and then that region, and really just help kind of be the organizing team behind that support structure. But overall, I really, really liked the idea. And personally, like within Earth Guardians, we have our most active continent is in Africa, and we actually have a very strong group of crews, which are like localized action bases or hubs, and they're actually kind of surrounding the country of Togo. And so they're doing a lot of work within agriculture, sustainable agriculture, permaculture, and so if there's a future need for support or collaboration. I just wanted to throw out there that the team should also think about reaching out to Earth Guardians, because we have so many people on the ground that have been doing this sort of work for going on possibly 10 years. And just know that this is a really, really great and prime time to launch a project like this. I really appreciated the thought behind the internal needs, and possible, looking at the possible issues that are going to come up, and really building internal and external support for everyone that will be involved in this project.
Yeah. Shall I go next? Paul, would you like to go first? Sure. So yes, I totally second with what Marlo said, and I would also, request all the teams to please mention the numbers, these statistics, because that's what will, show the real impact that you're creating. Also, as Marlo did mention this, that try connecting with the local government bodies and the communities. Maybe there are leadership communities globally at a global level. Try reaching out to people via social media platforms. That would be a best way, obviously. And then you also mentioned there the like those trainings on accounts and bookkeeping, on entrepreneurship, and there were several other topics. So try reaching out to Shiros. There's an organization by the name of Shiros. So they are into financial security and basically financial literacy. So try connecting with them. They are organizing and conducting free workshops for people who have this idea and who are doing something towards sustainability. So they are organizing and conducting free workshops, free training sessions on accounts and bookkeeping, on and other financial literacy topics. So try connecting with this organization. And there was also a training on like the organic farming somewhat. Then there was pest management, integrated pest management, and all that was there. So for this particular thing, there's an organization, Acom Farms, because these organizations have done few trainings for the startups who come to us. So they can definitely do this for this particular organization as well. So try connecting with these communities, as well as they are also startup. Acom Farms is a startup, and they do conduct training on organic farming, pest management, and all of that. So yeah, matlab, that would be, that would be a great thing. And again, do mention the numbers, the statistics. That would definitely create and show more impact, whatever you are doing, whatever a startup is doing, basically. So yeah, that's all about it. Yeah. And then there was one thing about self-help groups. Again, we are also helping people to how you can create these, or how you can form the self-help groups, and connect to more and more local bodies, local entrepreneurs, or local people. So yeah, like these people can reach out to us as well directly. So yeah, that's it from my side. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, great presentation. Really important subject area. Farming in a lot of places, but amplified in places like Africa is, it comes down to commercial exploitation, which has no place in the modern day world. So to be able to begin to tackle that by supporting the local farmers on the ground, incredibly powerful mission. I reflect, I think, what Marlo said in terms of taking a small slice, focusing in on the education bit, the community bit, getting people on the ground, because I don't have any direct experience, but I imagine there's some difficult conversations to have as part of that value chain from farmer through to shop, to help the farmers create the equity that they rightly deserve, whilst making things sustainable. So education, mental, and health well-being, these are all things that that everyone needs. Taking a small slice also allows to create a bit of a safer environment for people on the ground, because one thing I have learned is sometimes it's actually quite difficult to get people to talk about their issues. So to really help them feel safe to be able to open up and begin the journey of education, entrepreneurialism, and then beginning to grow in confidence in terms of how they approach commercial discussions, conflict management, and everything else, is part of the journey. I think that this idea needs to go on. And then these things tend to create their own gravity and own momentum, where then the community starts self-organizing and supporting each other against a common purpose. But it's really valuable mission, and great presentation, even though the guys weren't here to present it. Yeah, well done, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, panelists. And yeah, this is one of the issues with having such a large global community, is that sometimes not everyone can make it. But hopefully, as we do these events more often, more frequently, some of these issues will smooth themselves out. Okay, so without further ado, we have our final presentation. Just take a deep breath. This is the last one. We're going to get through it very shortly. And it's a presentation coming from the India team. Once again, there were some difficulties in getting everyone from the team to be able to be present today, but we do have one of its members, Sophia, who is here with us, and she will be working with our admin team like Antoinette did with us to present and share her team's idea with you guys. So right now, I'm just going to share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so this was the India team's presentation and their proposal for solving or contributing towards SDG 10. They, like the other teams, they followed along our planning tool template and steps, and this was the presentation they came up with. Aiko, do you want to start us off with their target SDG?
Sure. So they targeted target 10 to promote universal social, economic, and political inclusion.
And so why they chose that target is because they felt that it is crucial for all, with a greater emphasis on homemakers and unpaid care workers, to have the opportunity to contribute towards the economy by developing their skill sets. So such people such as housewives are always limited to nourish their family. This is social customs and just maybe sometimes socioeconomic situation. But no mind has a proper perspective as to what splendid changes occur when she is equipped with the world driven, and apart from her home. I think what they were trying to say here is when given the skills, there is a lot of untapped potential in the creativity and contributing ability of people who are in unpaid care worker positions. Such people, like any other participants in the economy, have ideas, have unique proposals and dreams that they want to realize. And when given the appropriate skills to do so, that potential can be unleashed. And so that was the focus of the India team's presentation. Sophia, are you able to jump on? Is your mic and everything functioning well?
Yep.
Awesome, please go ahead.
So for our demographics, we found that women are on average do more unpaid work than men. So the All India Survey on Higher Education 2019 to 2020 found that despite improvements in enrollment in some areas, the professional and technical courses where female enrollment is significantly lower.
Fatu, do you want to jump on with this?
Yeah, sure. So they wrote a code from Times of India, which is the most disturbing trend to emerge out of the National Crime Record Bureau data is that consistently for over 2 decades, every fifth suicide in India is by a housewife. As you can see here, they wrote like they got an information from a credible source, which is Times of India, which is I believe a newspaper, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
So yeah, just for added emphasis, this is really disappointing statistic to note that the highest suicide rate among the Indian population is primarily among housewives. So this was extremely obviously extremely depressing, and I assume is what really motivated them to come up with this particular idea. Yeah, this is more information. I believe this shows employment data, and like I mentioned, it shows sorry, people in professions compared to the suicide rate. And as you can see, housewives tend to be sitting at 20%, which is basically topping the entire chart. Sophia, do you want to continue?
In spite of the fact that the woman's contribution to the country's development is equal to that of a man, they still experience a number of limitations that restrain them from comprehending their potential for expansion from financial independence.
Aiko, do you want to jump on?
Yes, so these are their solutions. Any development process in the expansion of assets and capabilities of rural housewives to participate in, negotiate with, influence, control, and hold the institution accountable that affect their lives. Skill development among rural women is the need of the hour so as to make them confident, self-reliant, and to develop in them the ability to be a part of decision-making at home and outside. Indeed, it may not be wrong to say that still rural women are the most disadvantaged and negative section of the society, for they are economically backward. Therefore, there is a need on the part of the government and civil society to enable improvement in the quality of life of such vulnerable sections of the Indian population.
Fatu?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. So this is a core idea, and this is about like the project whereby it explores the questions of central to women's financial development in India, which is fundamentally patriarchal in nature, with guiding them towards pros and cons of their career option, along with skill building programs and finance. So over here, as you can see, they believe that mostly with this with this project that they will be able to help the housewives, as some of them mostly didn't finish with their education, and mostly it will help them in skill building programs also.
Sophia?
So our successes would be establishing our project in at least one community in 6 months, contacting valuable potential partners to which we can connect housewives, connecting housewives with valuable resources, and noticing real progress and change amongst at least a few women in households of this community in 1 year. Failures would be the inability to successfully establish ourselves and be known in one community, inability to connect with partners, inability to get access to resources and connect housewives to them, and lack of noticeable change or progress amongst housewives in the community.
Okay, and so this was the project timeline that they established, showing how they plan out their project over a time frame. And so it begins with understanding the basic mindset of a unpaid care worker with ambition. So for example, like what are their needs? What are they hoping to achieve through financial independence? And then starting a research-based program on nurturing their hobbies and skills for each individuals. Investing on their thoughts about breaking stereotypes. So a lot of this is about conditioning people and help encouraging them to realize their true potential beyond maybe what society has kind of designated for them. Then not only that, but providing them the skills through an MBA level education on startups and finance, as well as or using those skills and handing those skills to the affected demographic. And lastly, making it possible to reach them with easy access. So assisting them with the promotional and branding side of their business, if that's what they choose to start. So, you know, newspapers, WhatsApp, magazines, and social media promotions, and also connecting them with communities of successful businesswomen who can share their experiences and share some encouragement with some of these rural startups. Aiko?
Yes, so how can your project evolve and scale in the long run? By empowering housewives through financial education and skill-based programs, and thus enable them to live with dignity and self-reliance. Therefore, necessary employable skill deployment programs must take place both individually as a part of this project and collectively by the UN so as to make the project self-reliant and economically independent.
Okay, sorry. Sophia, do you want to jump on with this? I think this was their slogan.
So our branding and advertising would be through emphasizing Mom You Can. So from reaching target audience to guiding them towards an efficient platform.
And yes, so this is their vision for ultimately for empowering people, people from rural, economically stagnant situations, and giving them the skills and tools to be able to develop their own businesses, develop their own ideas, and achieve financial independence. So here it's quite clearly visualized, and fundamentally there is a lot of confidence and a lot of belief in the work that they are trying to do. And you know, frankly, all the best. This is a wonderful idea, and with a lot of meaning in some considering some of the socioeconomic conditions of the present. And yeah, I believe that was the ending slide. So at this point, panelists, would you guys like to jump on with some of your comments?
Sure, I would like to go. So yes, the idea is good, the presentation is good. From mom to becoming a mom entrepreneur, that was good. There were numbers, there were statistics, which is again a good part. You people are focusing on skill development. Uh, for the Indian team specifically, because if they are working on this proposal and if they have done research, they must be, or if they are not aware about this, let me tell you this, that there are organizations, Atal Incubation Centers, AICs, and Niti Aayog, which are doing something similar for women, basically encouraging these women who belong to the local areas, the local cities. They are doing work. These organizations are doing workshops, arranging sessions for these women, so that and these sessions are on financial literacy. Again, as I said during my last comment as well, the Shiros, the organization, they are doing these sessions regularly. So the team, the Indian team should, you just do connect with AICs, Niti Aayog and Shiros. They will definitely, help you in reaching out to more and more people and targeting more and more audience, because they have that database and they are doing it obviously. In this presentation, the presentation was good, no doubt, but then there was more focus on the problem, and the solution wasn't clear to me. So there was only, this regarding the solution part. So you only mentioned the skill development thing, like you'll be focusing more on the skill development, the financial literacy thing. So I'm not sure if, the skill development sessions, would it be enough or not? And are these sessions going to be online or offline? Because if it's happening online, virtual, then I'm not sure, because these women in the local areas, I'm not sure how many even have these smartphones, the access to smartphones. And then if that's offline, then there are still people, and then there are still, the places where these housewives, in India specifically, so they need permission to even step out of their house. So in attending these sessions regularly, I'm not sure if that's possible for them or not. And then these sessions, you said that the skill development sessions are only for the women. I would suggest to go for families too, like arrange these sessions for their families too, so that they, these families can also attend. Because then eventually the barrier, you know uh, the hurdle is coming from the families only. So yeah. And like, you guys need to focus on if these sessions are hybrid, online or just offline. And what about the access to smartphones? Because I don't think if they belong to the local bodies, and they would have a smartphone, access to smartphone and all of that. And also for a new organization, it would be very difficult to reach out to these audience and to target these people. Again, I would, as I said, that try connecting with the organizations who are already doing this and who are into this already, so that you will get the access to their database. And maybe I think the collaboration is the key here. So try collaborating with AICs, Niti Aayog, Shiros, and there are other potential organizations as well. Yeah, so that's it from my end, I guess. Thank you. Over to other panelists.
Just like, let me go really quickly, Molly. Yeah, really good presentation and mission. I'd kind of agree with Anupam in terms of focusing very much on the problem, which is great, but that doesn't necessarily help you really get crystal clear in terms of what the solution and opportunities are. I often stop people from in a business environment, stop people from talking about pain points and problems, and make people start communicating things in context to what the opportunities are. Here, what you're talking about here is a long history of generational culture, stitched in. So, and the background of that is change is difficult. It's a human nature to feel safe in what they've got. So bringing that to families and bringing that to the men in the families is just as important in terms of education, as well as providing the opportunities and the skills education to the housewives in those families. So I think looking at it from both sides is equally important. Even if you get to the stage of addressing that, then it is a case of how do you provide the access to those kind of things. But it's not going to be a switch. It's a long-term kind of thing. I think the other thing will help is also the negative stats are really important, because it frames the urgency and the need to do something really well. But there's got to be some good news stories out there where people have made the change. Families, that have historically had kind of cultural traditions move to a new mindset, new behaviors, and new way of supporting families to grow together, and being able to share that to those that have yet to make that change, will help reassure people that actually change is okay. We can do this, and you should look into trademarking momtrepreneur. Is it the term you came up with? Love it. Bit of a mouthful, but yeah. Good presentation, guys. Again, 3 out of 3.
Great. Yeah, I just want to reemphasize that it seems like there's a very clear why this project, why there's so much passion behind it, and what the need is, but getting very clear on what you're going to be doing it, what you're providing, and how you're going to do it. I was a little bit unclear on what the actual mode and work would be for your group. So just really getting clear on what can we provide these people. And I see that in the document or the presentation that there was like a main stage for research, and I think that again that's a really, really great idea. Definitely talk to the people who are being impacted, so the housewives and the families, and really ask what they need. Again, you don't want to create a solution that is not going to be needed or not actually, culturally what these women are looking for, and just really making sure that, again, you're providing something that is of need, and closely collaborating and listening to those who are impacted, and really making sure that those people are on your team and that you're in close contact with them. Yeah, and very much agree. Look, possibly one piece that you could do or look at, and again, I think my fellow panelists touched on this too, so just want to re-emphasize it. Really looking at how to holistically approach this issue, and possibly looking at the positive impacts that happen when the mothers are empowered and are providing some more income, and can really look at the kind of whole picture of how that will positively impact the family and the local community. And I think one other thing, just make sure with your work, yes, empowerment, and also, yeah, we want this to be a holistic approach. So just make sure that you're really looking at your demographic and talking to them and seeing how you can provide that need. But again, I think that the passion is really there, that there's a need for sure. And now just really look at the research phase and what your goals and kind of work plan is going to be. But yeah, really, really impressed by all 3 of the presentations, and looking forward to seeing what comes out of them.
Thank you so much, panelists. Okay, that has been an absolute roller coaster. Thanks if you're still watching, thanks for sticking with us all the way through. We all had a great time looking at all of these different presentations. I know, and as well as our fellow admins here can attest to the fact that every single one of the presenters and the people who were on the teams but weren't able to be here today have put in a lot of effort in making these presentations and getting them ready in a week span. Unfortunately, not all of them could be here to share their ideas with you guys in person, but nevertheless, there was a lot of effort put in, and we appreciate that. So at this point in time, we're going to hand off and end the Dolphin Pool segment and move on to the closing ceremony. So panelists, thank you so much for being here today. We understand your time is valuable, so if for any reason you guys need to bow out now, you're more than welcome to. So yeah, at this point, and also one more thing, these participants will be sending an email CCing you guys, you panelists, and the participants should they wish to interact with you guys a bit more after the event, if that's okay. All right, so thank you so much for those of you who are here to watch the Dolphin Pool. We appreciate you guys so much, and please stay tuned for future sandboxes and dolphin pools in the future. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Before people start leaving and before the panelists leave, could everyone turn on their cameras so we could quickly have a group photograph? Matt, could you take it? My laptop's not working.
Yeah, sure. So if you're able to, if you're comfortable to do so, please just turn on your camera for a brief, couple moments. We'll snag a quick photo. All right. Does anyone else want to turn on their camera? Great to see all our happy faces, all our awesome participants. Okay, this seems like everyone. All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait, we got a couple more. All right, just give it a couple more seconds. All right, 3, 2. There's slowly coming. It's taking its time. Okay, all right, everyone got their cameras on. Everyone who wants to have their cameras on, have their cameras on. Okay, 3, 2, 1, smile. Awesome. All right, thank you so much. And we hope to see you at future events. Have a good one.
Thank you so much to the panelists who joined. Please do not leave. We still have the opening ceremony left, but the panelists, if you need to leave, you're completely free to do so. And I'm sure that by the end of this GwoA Week of Action, since this is the last event, we hope that you do understand at this point that the Sustainable Development Goals have set out a path for the future of our planet. And all of us who inhabit it, we must reach the goals, and everyone needs to be critical in achieving them. And since we know that everyone should be concerned about the SDGs because it's about the future of the humanity and the future of the world's community as a whole. And the SDGs are about how the whole world needs to transform so that its people, so that the environment, so that the climate are fit for the future generations. It is something that will galvanize positively, whether it be citizens, private sectors, consumers, producers, the press, universities, everything, to have a common agenda and contribute to a better and sustainable future. And my concluding remarks would be that the SDGs as a whole, all 17 of them, all the 169 targets, they are important for a successful community because these are the universal agenda which do not differentiate between the global north or the global south. And with that, we have reached the closing ceremony of the December round of GwoA Week of Action. It has been my utmost pleasure to be the lead for the GwoA Week of Action, and I sincerely hope that it was a great experience for all of you and that you all learned something valuable. And it truly warmed my heart to see that people from all over the world, you could see the diversity in the chat. All of the people joined us and showed great interest, especially the Sandbox members. And we would also thank our workshop presenters, our open forum panelists, and especially our Dolphin Pool panelists for dedicating their valuable time for us. And without taking any more time, we'll invite you all to the fun part of the GwoA Week of Action, that is the social hour, and it's beginning right now. And I will be sending the link in the chat box, so kindly use this link to join in. Let me just copy it real quick. Sorry, I'm very slow with laptops. Okay. Okay, oh wait, never mind, it's in the chat box. Thank you, Gurnor. I'll send it again. Kindly use this link to join in, and we hope to see you at the social hour. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.